Hi and welcome to another channeling video. Before I go through the questions we're going to do today, I want to tell you that we have a live channeling planned. So it's going to be a channeling webinar where you can ask your personal questions. I will be channeling them live with you. And if you so happen to not be able to attend, but you sign up, you can write your questions in the, so you go to the link that you receive when you make the purchase, and you write your question in the comment section of the video. That way I can still channel your question or multiple questions. So write all the questions you want me to answer, and I will do them in the channeling video, in the channeling webinar. So for details about that and to sign up, you just go to the information box, the description box, and you click on the link there and you'll get there. So it's $29. And to give you a comparison, a personal reading with me costs $249. So this is quite the offer, I think, quite a catch if you just have a couple of questions or a few things that could really make a difference to you. Do sign up. Oh, noticing that my belly is all showing. It's okay. And so yeah, do take this opportunity to ask some really important questions to you. There's really no limit to what kind of question you can ask. It could be something really, really profound, really significant to you. It could be something about a major issue in your life. So if you want help with that, do sign up. And all the details of the webinar time and everything is in the description box. So just click there, have a look, and sign up if you have questions. So the questions we're going to do on this channeling are, let me see, I want to feel like I should do less of a stomach. Okay, I could feel the rolls there. Okay, so the first question is, how does God view sex? What is God's point of view when it comes to sex? I think this is a wonderful question because I live in the western part of the world, and it's very saturated with sex is a big part of the cultural messages that we get, and so we have this sort of push towards sexualizing things and people, but also less of a connection to the divine. So that would be a really interesting one to explore. The second question is it wrong to view duality as bad? So what is the deal with duality? Should we be thinking in terms of good, bad, positive, negative, or is there a different way to see it? I thought that was a profound one too. And the third one is, are our feelings the key to understanding ourselves? And what part does thoughts play? So this is about how, by exploring our feelings, do we get a better understanding of ourselves? Or how should we view like thoughts versus feelings when we're conflicted in a situation? The fourth one is, what is the purpose of emotional neglect in childhood? Now, this is a sad one, but unfortunately, this is common. So I do want to see if we can get some of the positives or some of the purpose, what's the meaning in experiencing emotional neglect as children. And the last one and the fifth is, how do we feel more joy from within on a daily basis? I thought it might be good to end up on a positive note. So let's just get right into it. So the first question is, how does God view sex? I have created it for your pleasure, for your insight, for your wisdom, for your understanding. You have tended to abuse it. Sex can be a portal to understand yourself more deeply, to understand love more deeply, to connect on a more meaningful level with your partner, it is an experience of deep understanding, deep joy, deep connection. It is very profound. It is one of the most profound experiences you can have in life. Okay, so how should we approach sex according to you? What is the best way to approach sex according to you? With the understanding that it is profound when you decide or agree to engage in a sexual relationship with somebody, you are sharing something very profound. You are sharing in trust and authenticity, and you are, in every sense of the way, being naked with each other, physically, emotionally, mentally. You are allowing yourselves to see each other in your most naked and authentic way. Okay, so what are the things that we are doing wrong when it comes to sex? Sometimes you abuse it. And if you have a habit of suppressing your true feelings, of suppressing your truth, you may find that you bring this attitude to your sexual relationships, that you suppress the insight and wisdom that can come from it, and instead delude yourselves into thinking that it is solely about pleasure. When you do this, you will find that you tend to be dishonoring your partner as well. When you do this, you will find that you are unintentionally hurting your sexual partner. How can you explain more on that? Like, does it mean that that's the reason why people might be sexually abusive in some kind of way? Yes, the root of sexual abuse, whether it is obvious sexual abuse or whether it is just a sexual interaction which feels dishonoring to one of the partners, which can be the case even if there is no clear sexual abuse. When this happens, the reason would be that one of the partners is unwilling to meet the deeper part of themselves, to be truly authentic with themselves. And so they cannot see their partner in a truly authentic way. And just like they may dishonor parts of themselves, they will dishonor parts of their partner. Okay, so how can we honor our partner in a sexual interaction? by knowing that they are a full human being that have honored you by sharing in this very profound experience, by honoring their feelings, knowing that sex is a naked act in body, mind, and soul. You must be willing to be naked with your body, mind, and soul. You must be willing to undress emotionally and mentally. You cannot be hiding parts of yourselves and only approach it in a physical way. When you are hiding parts of yourselves, you are not allowing it to be authentic. And so, the profound intimacy that sex involves will mean that your partner will experience whatever is going on within you. If you are dishonoring parts of yourselves or you are hiding parts of yourselves, your partner will feel this. It is a very deep and intimate union. I understood it, but can you explain it in a way that the listeners will understand it as well? The veil or disconnection that you have in the interaction with other people is gone in the intimacy of sex. It is a form of a union, an emotional union, a mental union, and a physical union. And so, whatever dysfunctional or toxic behavior or feeling you have within you, you will be sharing with your partner. And they will feel the discomfort or pain or shame of it accordingly. Okay, so how can we make sure that regardless of what's going on within us, that we are honoring our partner on every level? By authentically and genuinely intending to share in this profound experience with your partner, by being transparent and honest. What if you feel like you can't do that? Then you must make sure that you are only choosing partners that are similar in that way and who will not be vulnerable to the dysfunction that you bring. Choose partners that have a similar dysfunction or toxicity and who themselves also do not want to face themselves completely. Oh, I need more on this. So, how do you feel about one-night stands? They are beneficial for some. Who are they beneficial for? Those that truly want just the sexual experience and nothing more. For them, this is an option. So who is it not for? Many people are very aware of their emotional needs, and they are more aware of the full spectrum of needs they have when it comes to interaction with other people. They are aware that they need kindness, love, care, and intimacy. And for these people, a one-night stand will be unfulfilling, and these people would be more drawn to more full relationships. Okay, so what about so notice people have very different attitudes to sex in terms of to some people it's just an act, and to some people it's a very meaningful thing. What is the difference there? Some people have a bit of a addictive relationship to sex. It helps them temporarily to be free of their toxic thoughts and feelings. It is an escape for some people. Other people are more integrated in body, mind, and soul, and they can be aware of their emotional needs and sexual needs at the same time. For those people, they need to be more selective about their partners and make sure that their partners can meet them where they are. For those people that have a more addictive attitude to sex, they do best by finding partners that are similar. I want to ask, how do you feel about porn? Although porn represents one need that you have, the need for sexual stimulation, it is also in the context of your culture where there is so much shame around sex, despite what you keep telling yourself. Porn is an expression of your need for sexual stimulation, and it's an expression of your fascination for sex. But in the context of this shame that you are under, the porn that you have available tends to reflect this self-hate, this self-hate that you feel about your fascination for sex. And so the porn you create will reflect your self-hate. You could have porn that was honoring you, and there is indeed some of that, or attempts towards going in that direction, but you will find that those that are most drawn to porn are those that are most most shameful about in their attitude to sex, in the sense that they feel a great deal of shame. Not that we are judging them, but they are judging themselves, and they feel self-hate about their fascination for sex. And you will find that those are the ones that are most drawn to the porn that is most widely available. Okay, can you give us some guidance on that? So what is the better way to approach this? Sex should be a positive thing. Sex should be honored. But the way that you are hating yourselves and feeling shame and feeling bad, you are creating a sexual norm that becomes intimately connected with shame. What is the reason? What's the cause of all this shame? There are multiple reasons. It is an unwillingness to accept yourself. It is an unawareness of the deeper aspects of yourself, a lack of understanding of the power of the sexual union, and a general lack of love in your society, a general lack of regard for each other. Oh my days. This is a lot. And there is so much more. I can feel it. There is so much more on this. Okay, so you think sex is a good thing as long as we honor ourselves and be authentic and open with each other. Is that what I'm... Sex is a good thing, but you must be aware that you, in your culture, in your society, have a lot of shame attached to it. You generally are unaware of this shame that you are attaching to sex. Whether or not you are having sex or watching porn, there is a general attachment to the shame. How do we heal the shame? By accepting yourselves. By accepting yourselves instead of judging yourselves as bad or wrong or insignificant or flawed. By accepting yourselves. By seeing yourselves for all that you are and loving that, the good, bad, the ugly, seeing it and viewing it lovingly. If you cannot view yourself lovingly, you cannot view your sexual partner lovingly. That self-hate or disrespect towards the self will leak out in this intimate moment with your partner and in all of your close interactions. I gotta say, there is a lot more there, but I think we have to move on with the next question. But that's a fantastic question. But I feel like there's layers and layers with that one. Okay, is it wrong to view duality as bad? Is the next one. Is it wrong to view duality as bad? Yes and no. It depends on how you want to see it. That's how duality can be unity, and unity can be dualistic. Duality can be bad, or it can be good. Both can be true. You will find that when you look for objective reality, that sometimes two apparently contradictory ideas can both be true. So, to be more specific, when we think of experiences as good or bad, is that helpful? Is that inaccurate? Would that be inaccurate to view things as good or bad? From your perspective, according to your frames of reference, it would be accurate for you. But from our point of view, it would be neither good nor bad. Okay, so is it helpful to think of things as good or bad? Generally, no. It is not helpful to think of things as good or bad. Things are what they are. Your opinion of it or your judgment of it doesn't really matter. So whether you view it as good or bad, things will just be what they are, and it will be somewhat of a waste of time to decide how you want to title it. I'm not sure I'm doing this question justice, because I'm not sure, maybe that's not what they wanted to get at when they asked that question. Is it wrong to view duality as bad? I'm just going to move on, because I don't think I have enough understanding of what the questioner meant for me to dig for the root of this topic. Next one is, are our feelings the key to understanding ourselves? What part does thoughts play? That's a good one. Are our feelings? Yes, your feelings and emotions give you much more direction and clarity than your thoughts do generally. When something feels bad, you know that is the wrong way to go. When something feels good, you know that is the right way to go. Or when something feels easy, that would be the best way to go. So what about when some things feel a mix of both good and bad? Sometimes we have a hard time deciding, because there's some good things and some bad things, and like sometimes it's not as clear cut. That happens when you make a mental concept of things. In practical reality, you really only need to know the next step, and you can just take the next step that feels easy and comfortable, and that's really all you need to know about the situation. You do not have to make a long-term judgment on a particular topic. You should just know what next step to take. That way, your life will be more fluid and less rigid. And by having it less rigid, it takes a lot of thinking work off of your shoulders, and your circumstances will also be more fluid and less rigid. So what part does thoughts play? Thoughts are an aid. They help you conceptualize things. Many times, channeled insight will come through as thoughts. And that's a very useful function for your brain, to be able to interpret for you, in your understanding, insight. So what about when our thoughts keep repeating themselves and we get like stuck in a thought loop, or, what about that? That is an expression of rigidity in your thinking. Remind yourself that you do not have to figure the whole thing out. You only need to know the next step. And know that circumstances will fluidly fall into place when you act according to your feeling of what the next step is. You do not have to have a full understanding. You just need to know, moment by moment, what is my next step? What should I do right now, if anything? Oftentimes you will find that right now you don't need to do anything. It might be a good practice to leave your decision making for when the time comes to make the decision, instead of thinking about things for too long in advance. That's interesting. But I feel like I want to dig into something more meaningful now. So the next question, what is the purpose of emotional neglect in childhood? Okay, I'm being shown the emotional neglect. Okay, what is the purpose of it? There can be varying purposes of it, but there will always be a purpose. For some, specifically, is the neglect is very severe. It plays a major role. It plays the biggest role in mapping out this child's future path. So this neglect will determine a great deal of what happens later in life for this child. Generally, the purpose has to do with self-reliability or self-sustainability, to learn to figure out what the inner voice is saying and to chart a new path for yourself. What other reasons could there be? If the neglect is not too severe, it will, and if the child has experience of something other than emotional neglect, meaning they do have moments and experiences of being emotionally cared for, in those cases, the neglect will serve as a aid to help the child develop empathy for this particular kind of suffering. And so this makes the person somewhat of a healer, and they will be able to provide a lot of emotional support and comfort for others later in life. Uh, so what is those that are severely neglected? What is, oh, this is so awful. What is the purpose of, what else is there? Can you give me more? Like, is there, must be worth it? Like, that's horrible suffering. Like what? Tell me more on that. These people become very self-reliant. They become very strong individuals if they can survive off of just crumbs in terms of their emotional needs. They become very, very strong, and they need less of emotional support from others as they grow up. Okay, but it can't be healthy. Like, that must mess you up in some kind of way. That must mess you up. It can cause empathy disorders such as narcissism or worse, psychopathy, because the child cannot develop what they have not been given the ingredients for. If they have not received empathy, they will not know how to develop their own empathy. Okay, so there are some people that don't develop that even despite severe neglect. There are those that, despite severe neglect, come born with an emotional power, a very strong love, those tend to suffer more than those that develop narcissism or psychopathy. Okay, but why? Okay, just give me some good news, because this is hard. Okay, just give me the good stuff. Give me what's good. It is a very important experience to experience this kind of life, just like you get to experience all different kinds of life experiences. This is a very significant one. From your point of view, it is a very hard life to experience, but from our point of view, it is one that will grow you in wisdom and insight. Even those that develop narcissism or psychopathy, while that wisdom may not reveal itself in their lifetime, their soul is learning, and it is a very important process. And their learning will help the rest of the all that is us together. I'm not happy with that answer. It must be worth it. It must be. I want to move on. I really hate how this made me feel. I don't feel satisfied with that answer. I don't like it. Okay. Last question is, how do we feel more joy from within on a daily basis? How do we feel more joy from within on a daily basis? How do we feel more joy from within? You can, while sitting down, feel a light or fire from your chest area. Or is it solar plexus? I'm not sure. Like chest or solar plexus. a fire from in here, like a fire, a warmth. You can do that. And that is where your joy is. That is your joy center. Connect to that on a daily basis and make a conscious decision. Set a conscious intention that you want to feel joyful and that you will start from joy. And when you need to, go back and connect with this area to connect with your joy. Can give me something more practical that like doesn't involve, yeah, so just something more. Can we have something more? You can purposely draw yourself to those things that bring you joy. You can go into environments that bring you joy. It is actually very easy if you truly intend it, but because you prioritize other things, you find that joy becomes elusive. While you say you want joy, you prioritize other things, you choose other things, and then you complain that joy eludes you. But you are the one eluding the joy. Go to where the joy is. Seek it out. Whether it's in small steps, in small ways, or in major steps, in major ways. When you prioritize joy, you will find that it is available in multiple ways. So what I'm seeing is like it's about the choices we make on a day-to-day basis. Like, do we choose things according to, the joy we want to feel, or do we choose things according to like the stuff we need to? Okay, but so we usually, for me anyway, if I don't choose it, it's because I feel I have other things to do, like I have responsibilities and stuff. What do you say to that? It does not have to be mutually exclusive. You can intend to bring in joy to your responsibilities. You do not have to pick one or the other, and joy does not have to be fruitless or unproductive. Joy is a layer that you can add to whatever else you are doing. So, it is your choice. Do you truly want joy, or do you not? And if you truly want joy, do consciously intend to add it to your life. And when you consciously intend it, if you truly are intending it, then you will be taking the steps or the actions that will add joy to whatever you're doing. So, in this case, it is just a matter of being honest with yourself about not having chosen joy. And now you know that it's that easy. You can just choose it. You can add it to your responsibilities and the boring things that you want to suffer through. You can choose to make them joyful. You can choose to add an element of joy to them. It is very illogical to us why you would want your responsibilities to remain boring. It is You are not getting a gold star in heaven for completing your responsibilities in the most boring way. Suffering does not earn you a gold star with me. You can make your tasks and responsibilities joyful. And when you are joyful, I am joyful too. That was nice. So those were the questions. I welcome more questions. I do want to hear your thoughts on these. It was a lot. I'm a little shaken up. I thought the first question was great, but I feel like there was more. I wanted a lot more depth. There was so much more to that. I think we might come back to it. So if you have more like follow-up questions on that one, do let me know. I think it would be really interesting. I don't know if I got to the key points. And then, yeah, with the other questions as well, if you feel like, I could have asked it differently, or could have gotten more depth to it, let me know. And yeah, welcome more questions for next channeling. If you want to ask personal questions, you can either order a personal reading for $249, or you can sign up to the webinar where you get your questions answered live, where I will be taking you on. I will be channeling live with you. You'll be joining me. It will be, just me and whoever signs up. So it would be confidential in the sense that the video won't be published anywhere. You will be able to ask whatever question you need to ask, whether it's big or small, anything. And it's $29, and all the information about that, about time and everything, is in the link in the description box. So I look forward to seeing you there, and I look forward to your questions, and I look forward to your comments. Bye.